Most people ask the wrong question about depression. They ask, should I fix my mindset or take medication? But if you're drowning, you don't debate philosophy. You grab whatever keeps your head above water. Because depression isn't weakness. It's a state where survival comes before meaning. And today, we're starting with the truth most people are too proud to say out loud. If you're drowning, you don't argue about which hand should pull you out. You grab the rope. You grab the life ring. You grab anything that keeps you alive long enough to rebuild. And that's the first truth about depression that people don't want to admit. Depression is not a mood. It can be a medical emergency. It can be the kind of pain that quietly convinces you that the future is closed. So here's a better question than therapy vs medication. What helps you survive long enough to recover? Because if you can't get to next month, the philosophy doesn't matter. If you can't get to next week, the plan doesn't matter. Step one is always the same: stabilize. Don't romanticize suffering. Some people treat medication like a moral failure. They feel guilty, as if accepting biological help means they're weak or fake or cheating. But think about it plainly. If your pancreas stopped regulating insulin, you wouldn't call insulin a crutch. You'd call it treatment. The brain is part of the body. Your mood is not floating in the air. Sleep, appetite, stress hormones, inflammation, history, genetics, social isolation, these aren't excuses. They are inputs. And when enough inputs go wrong at the same time, a person can collapse. The real rule: use what works, then build what lasts. Medication can be a bridge, not always, not for everyone. But sometimes it's the difference between being trapped in the bottom of a pit, having enough strength to start climbing. And if something can reduce suicidal intensity, reduce catastrophic despair, or give you mental space to function, then it can be life-saving. But medication is rarely the whole story, because even if your biology improves, you still have to answer. What are you doing each day? Who are you connected to? What are you moving toward? What is steadily wrecking you? Depression can be biological. Depression can be situational. Often it's both, tangled together. Two kinds of depressed people. You'll meet two broad patterns. People whose lives are relatively stable. They have some structure, some relationships, some competence, some responsibilities, and yet they're still sinking. For them, targeted treatment, medical, therapeutic, lifestyle can sometimes produce a dramatic shift. People whose lives are collapsing everywhere, no structure, damaged sleep, unstable income, conflict everywhere, addiction, risk, isolation, constant chaos. They aren't asking, how do I optimize my life? They're asking, where do I even start? For them, the first goal isn't find your passion. It's stop the bleeding. The multi-tool approach. If you want a real plan, think in categories. Biology, sleep consistency, nutrition and hydration, medical checkups, medication if appropriate, supervised properly, behavior, small daily routines, breaking avoidance, limiting alcohol, drug escalation, basic self-care even when it feels meaningless, social, one or two real connections, less time with people who destabilize you, honest conversations, direction, a small goal you can actually do, a weekly structure, a reason to keep going that isn't fake positivity. You don't pick one tool to be pure. You use what works. Now here's the trap. Even if you start improving, one bad day can convince you the entire story is pointless. In part 2, I'll show you how depressed thinking turns a single problem into a verdict on your whole identity, then how to stop it in a wildfire. Da-di moment yo your maulali. A single bad grade, a single awkward conversation, a single failure, a single rejection. And suddenly your mind says, see, this is proof I'm finished. That is a chain reaction. The wildfire problem. Here's what depression does. It spreads meaning too far, too fast. A normal mind says, I did badly on this exam, I need to adjust. A depressed mind says, I did badly on this exam, I'm stupid. I'll fail the degree. I'll disappoint everyone. I'll never become anything. Life is pointless. Same event, different interpretation speed. Depression isn't only sadness, it's often catastrophic inference, a rapid slide from small pain to global doom. The skill that saves you containment. Containment is the ability to say, this happened and it happened here, and I will keep it here. You don't deny reality. You refuse to let it infect everything. If your life is a house, containment is closing the door on one burning room, so the whole building doesn't ignite. So when something goes wrong, ask, what is the smallest accurate description of the problem? What is the narrowest domain it applies to? What is the minimum change needed to reduce the chance it happens again? That's not making excuses. That's mental hygiene. Why global statements destroy relationships. This matters even more in conflict. If someone disappoints you, you can say, when you didn't respond, I felt ignored. Can we agree on a better way next time? Or you can say, you never care. You always do this. This marriage was a mistake. One approach repairs the map. The other blows up the entire world. If you make global accusations, the other person can't fix it because you didn't ask for a specific change. You attack their entire character. And what do people do when you attack their identity? They fight back. They shut down. They retaliate. So the rule is simple. Make the correction small enough that a human being can actually do it. Micro routines. The hidden foundation. Most people underestimate micro routines. But your mental stability is built on boring things. Wake time, light exposure, regular meals, movement, a predictable work block, reduced alcohol spirals, a weekly social touchpoint. If those collapse, your brain becomes unstable, and an unstable brain tells unstable stories. So if you want to beat depression, you don't start with grand motivation. You start with stability. Spiral model. A typical downward spiral looks like this. Stress, sleep disruption of fatigue, avoidance, guilt, isolation, be more stress. Alcohol coping, worse, sleep, deeper depression. Where do you intervene? Even one small interruption matters. Consistent wake time, one short walk, one meal with protein, one message to a safe friend, one appointment booked. Depression hates momentum. It loves stillness. So you become dangerous to depression by doing one thing daily that keeps the spiral from closing. Now we need something bigger than avoid spirals. We need a compass. In part 3, I'll show you how to find a real sense of meaning. Not fake positivity, but an internal signal that you're living in the right direction. Iningi ice ace igmel nauoti aku uot. If you don't know what you're living for, everything feels heavy. Every task feels pointless. Every sacrifice feels like theft. So the real question isn't, how do I stay motivated? It's what makes life feel worth carrying. Meaning isn't happiness. Happiness can be chemistry. It can be luck. It can be a temporary mood. Meaning is different. Meaning is the feeling you get when your actions line up across levels. Today and tomorrow, you and your family, your private life and your responsibilities. Short-term pain and long-term direction. Meaning often feels like, this is difficult, but it's right. Why nihilism is so seductive. Nihilism says, nothing matters, so don't try. It feels intelligent because it sounds objective. But it also destroys you because it removes your reasons to act. And if you remove reasons to act, you don't become free. You become passive. And passivity is gasoline for depression. A practical meaning test. Ask yourself, what is one thing I could do this week that would reduce unnecessary suffering? Not fix the universe, not become perfect. Just reduce unnecessary suffering. Clean one corner of your room. Apologize honestly once. Stop one destructive habit from escalating. Show up for one responsibility. Help one person in a specific way. Meaning often starts small. It grows as you prove to yourself you can be useful. Be the person who can handle the hard day. There will be funerals. There will be illness. There will be losses. A strong aim is become someone who can be present without collapsing. Not cold, not numb, present. Helpful, reliable. That's not soft motivation. That's a life strategy. The identity shift: you are not your current plan. Many people break when their plan breaks. If this plan fails, I'm nothing. But you are not your plan. You are the thing that can adapt when the plan meets reality. The obstacle isn't only an interruption. Sometimes it's information. Sometimes it's a correction. Sometimes it's an opportunity to grow tougher and wiser. Your identity becomes stronger when it's built on adaptability. I can learn. I can adjust. I can rebuild. But what happens when you start moving forward and you still mess it up again and again? In part 4, I'll show you why doing it badly is not failure. It's the price of becoming competent, and how to keep going without self-hatred. DOIT beat DOIT. Most people don't fail because they're weak. They fail because they demand perfection before they start. They wait for the perfect plan, the perfect mood, the perfect timing, and they wake up years later, unchanged. The law of learning: you will overshoot. When you learn anything, you make mistakes first. That's not a flaw. That's the process. Your early attempts are supposed to be messy. Your first workouts feel embarrassing. Your first videos feel cringe. Your first public speaking feels shaky. Your first discipline streak breaks. So what? The person who improves isn't the person who never falls. It's the person who falls, learns one thing, and stands back up with a slightly better method. Why the desert phase is normal. When you leave a bad pattern, you often enter an empty phase. You quit a toxic relationship, now you're lonely. You stop a harmful habit, now you're bored and restless. You drop a false identity, now you feel blank. That blankness is not proof you were better before. It's proof you removed an old scaffold. Now you build a new one slowly. The adult principle: small, consistent actions. If you want the most reliable anti-chaos strategy, here it is. Same wake time. One daily health action. One productive block. One relationship action. One future action. Depression wants you to negotiate with your life. I'll start when I feel like it. Discipline says, I start because starting changes how I feel. The anti-collapse script. When you fail, say, what exactly happened? What's the smallest fix? What's the next right action? And then do the next right action. Before your brain writes a tragedy novel out of one mistake, you don't need to become a new person overnight. You need to become slightly more stable than you were last week. And if you are in a severe depressive state, the first victory is survival and stabilization, using every tool you can access without shame. Because a life can be tragic, but it doesn't have to be hell. And the difference is often made by small choices, repeated, while you're tired, while you're unmotivated, while you don't feel ready.